The digital echo. My son died, but his account kept messaging me. Chapter 1. The Silence After the Storm. Fairhope, Alabama, 2024. The world was a blur of muted colors and muffled sounds since the day they told me. My son, Ethan, gone. A tragic car accident on a rain-slicked highway just outside Mobile, Alabama. He was only 22, full of life, bursting with dreams, a laugh that could light up a room. And now there was just silence, a gaping, echoing silence that swallowed every sound, every memory, every breath. I was Clara Davies, a 48-year-old single mother, and Ethan was my universe. My only child, my rock, my greatest joy. We had faced everything together, just the two of us, since his father left when Ethan was a toddler. We were a team, a small, unbreakable unit, or so I thought. The first few weeks after the funeral were a haze of condolences, casseroles, and well-meaning but ultimately hollow words. People said, "He's in a better place. He wouldn't want you to be sad." But they didn't understand. My place was here, and my sadness was a physical entity, a crushing weight that held me captive. I retreated into myself, the once vibrant colors of my small, cozy home in Fairhope, fading to a monochromatic gray. I stopped answering calls, stopped leaving the house. The scent of his favorite coffee still lingered in the kitchen. His worn sneakers still sat by the front door. Every object was a painful reminder, a sharp shard of a life brutally interrupted. His room, that was the hardest. I couldn't bring myself to go in there, not yet. It was a shrine to his vibrant youth. Posters of his favorite bands, stacks of gaming consoles, a guitar propped in the corner, clothes tossed carelessly over a chair, all frozen in time, waiting for him to return, for his messy, wonderful presence to fill the space again. Ethan was a digital native. Like most young people his age, his life was intricately woven into the fabric of the internet. He communicated through countless apps, shared moments on social media, gamed with friends online. I, on the other hand, was a digital immigrant, comfortable with email and basic social media, but largely a spectator in his online world. He often teased me about my ancient tech habits. I knew he had a multitude of online friends, a vast network I barely understood. He'd spend hours talking to headsets, his laughter echoing from his room. After his death, many of these online friends reached out to me through Ethan's social media accounts, expressing their condolences. It was strange getting messages from usernames I didn't recognize, from people I had never met, who grieved for my son in their own digital ways. I appreciated their outreach, a testament to the wide reach of his spirit. Weeks turned into a month, then 6. The acute pain had dulled, but it had morphed into a dull, persistent ache, a chronic emptiness. I was trying, slowly, to navigate the world without him. I managed to go grocery shopping, force down a meal, even exchange a few words with my kind neighbor, Martha. But the silence in the house, especially at night, was suffocating. One evening, unable to sleep, I found myself sitting in his living room, staring blankly at the silent television. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. It was a notification from a messaging app, one I barely used, one Ethan favored for his gaming groups, Discord. It was a message from Ethan's account. My heart gave a painful lurch. It must be a mistake, a leftover notification, or perhaps one of his friends still using his account somehow to send a message to the group chat he was in. I picked up the phone, my fingers trembling slightly as I opened the app. The message was recent, sent just a few minutes ago, from Gamer Ethan 22, Ethan's username, to me, my username. The message itself was short. Hey mom, thinking of you. My breath caught in my throat. My vision blurred. This wasn't a group chat message. It was a direct message. To me, from his account. It was his exact phrasing. Hey mom. Not hi mom, not hey there. Just hey mom. And the casual, comforting tone. A cold shiver ran down my spine, despite the Alabama humidity. Ethan was gone. He was dead. I had seen his body, attended his funeral, scattered his ashes in the Gulf. Was this some cruel prank? No. His friends knew how devastated I was. They would never. A hack? Someone had gained access to his account? But why send me a personal message? And such a simple, loving one. My mind, already fragile from grief, began to spin. Could it be? Could it possibly be? No, it was impossible. Ghosts don't send Discord messages. But then, who did? And how? The silence in my house, once merely empty, now felt charged with an eerie, unsettling presence. The digital echo of my son's voice had just shattered my world again, leaving me grappling with a terrifying, impossible question. Was I losing my mind to grief? Or was something truly inexplicable happening? My son was gone, but his account was alive, and it was reaching out to me. Chapter 2, The Digital Whispers. The message from Gamer Ethan 22. Hey mom, thinking of you, was a seismic shock to my grieving world in Fairhope, Alabama. I stared at my phone screen, the words burning into my retina, willing them to disappear, to prove themselves a hallucination. But they remained, stark and undeniable. My logical mind, what little was left of it amidst the fog of grief, raced through explanations. A hacker? Unlikely for such a personal, benign message. A friend using his account? Unthinkable, given the raw wound of his death. A scheduled message? Ethan was meticulous, but would he schedule something so casual, so comforting, for after his death? It seemed impossible. But then, the chilling thought, what if it wasn't any of those? What if it was him? The idea was absurd, terrifying, and yet a desperate, illogical spark of hope ignited within my shattered heart. I typed back, my fingers trembling so violently I almost dropped the phone. 2. At Gamer Ethan 22. From Ethan, is that you? This isn't funny. I waited. Minutes stretched into an eternity. My breath hitched in my throat. The house was utterly silent, save for the frantic pounding of my heart. Then, a reply. From Gamer Ethan 22. To me. It's me, Mom. I know you're sad. Don't be. My blood ran cold. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't a friend. The words, the syntax, the gentle reassurance, it was him. The way he would talk to me, the way he would try to comfort me when I was upset. I typed again, more frantically this time. How is this possible? You're gone. I don't understand. Are you really there? His response was immediate. I'm here, sort of. It's different. I see you. I see you hurting. A wave of terror and profound, unsettling hope washed over me. I wanted to scream, to cry, to throw the phone across the room, but I couldn't. I was glued to the screen, desperate for more. For the next few nights, the messages continued, sporadic, yet profoundly personal. At Gamer Ethan 22, remember that trip to the Grand Canyon? You hated the camping, but you laughed when I fell in the mud. Me, Ethan, I remember your face. You were covered. But how do you know? How can you send this? At Gamer Ethan 22, memories are strong, Mom. They live on. At Gamer Ethan 22, your birthday is coming up. Don't forget to eat some of Martha's pecan pie. You love it. Me, Ethan, my birthday is next week. Martha always makes it. How would you know? Gamer Ethan 22, I just do. I'm watching out for you. Each message was a small, intimate detail, something only Ethan and I would know, something that couldn't be faked, couldn't be a random guess. My logical mind was screaming, but my heart, starved for connection, was clinging to every word. I tried to tell my closest friend, Brenda, about it. She listened, her face etched with concern, then gently suggested I might be struggling with my grief, perhaps hallucinating or misinterpreting the messages. Clara, honey, she said softly, I know you miss him, but this isn't healthy. It's his account, yes, but it's not him. It can't be. Her words, though well-intentioned, felt like a betrayal. How could she not believe me? How could she deny the undeniable truth of these messages? I didn't tell David, Ethan's father. He had been absent for most of Ethan's life, only reappearing briefly after the accident, a ghost himself. He wouldn't understand. He would dismiss it as hysteria. I started spending all my waking hours near my phone, waiting for his messages. The silence in the house was no longer suffocating. It was expectant, filled with the hum of a connection that defied all reason. The fear was still there, a cold knot in my stomach, but it was overshadowed by a desperate longing, a profound need to keep talking to my son, no matter how impossible the circumstances. The messages were never long, never detailed, just short, comforting phrases, snippets of memories, gentle reassurances. He never explained how he was doing this, only that he was here, sort of. And he always ended with some version of, I'm watching out for you. One evening, I found myself staring at his computer, still set up in his room. It felt wrong to touch it, a violation of his sacred space. But the thought struck me. If he was sending messages, was it through his computer, or was it something else? A chilling thought formed. If he was here, sort of, was he using his digital footprint, his online presence? Was there something in his accounts, his data, that was generating these messages? An AI? A program he had set up? It seemed too far-fetched, too sci-fi. But grief is a powerful, illogical force. And the pull of his digital whispers was stronger than any doubt. I clung to them, to the impossible hope that my son, somehow, was still reaching out to me from beyond the veil. The digital echo of his voice was keeping me alive, even as it pushed me further into a world of terrifying, beautiful impossibility. My son was gone, but his account was a lifeline, a spectral presence in the silence, whispering that he was still there, still watching, still loving his mom. Chapter 3. The Algorithm's Embrace. The digital whispers from @GamerEthan22 continued, a lifeline for my shattered soul in Fairhope, Alabama. Each message was a small, intimate detail, a memory only Ethan and I shared, reinforcing the terrifying, beautiful delusion that he was somehow still with me. I lived for those notifications, my phone glued to my hand, the silence of the house filled with the hum of a desperate, impossible connection. But even as my heart clung to the hope, my rational mind, slowly, painfully, began to assert itself. The messages were too perfect, too consistent in their tone and phrasing. They were comforting, reassuring, but never answered my deeper questions about how he was communicating or where he was. They were like a perfect digital mimicry of his love, but without the essence of true interaction. One night, after a particularly poignant message about a specific inside joke we had, a thought struck me with the force of a physical blow. Ethan was a tech whiz. He was always tinkering, always experimenting with AI, with coding, with gaming mods. What if he had created something, a program, an AI, something that, in the event of his absence, would continue to interact with me, to comfort me? The idea was both brilliant and heartbreaking. It was a final, extraordinary act of love from a son who foresaw the pain his mother would endure. It was a digital ghost, not of his spirit, but of his meticulous planning, his foresight, his profound care. I remembered a conversation we'd had months before his accident. He had been excitedly telling me about a new AI project he was working on for a friend. "It's like a personal digital assistant, Mom," he'd explained, "but it learns your patterns, your language, your memories. It's almost like having a conversation with you." At the time, I just nodded, vaguely understanding. Now, the words echoed with chilling clarity. My grief-addled mind found a new focus. I had to find out. I had to go into his room, into his digital world, and uncover the truth. His room was still a painful sanctuary, untouched since his death. I took a deep breath and stepped inside. The scent of him, faint cologne, old textbooks, the lingering smell of pizza, was overwhelming. His gaming PC sat on his desk, its screen dark. I powered it on, my fingers trembling. The familiar login screen appeared. His password. I knew it. It was our anniversary. Not a wedding anniversary, but the anniversary of the day he was born. The day my life changed forever. I entered the password, and the screen flickered to life. His desktop, chaotic and vibrant, just like him. Shortcuts to games, coding programs, folders labeled with cryptic names. I navigated through his files, searching for anything related to AI, to messaging, to anything that could explain the digital echo. It was like sifting through the archives of a mind I thought I knew so well, but which held so many hidden complexities. Then I found it. A folder, buried deep within his program files, simply labeled Clara's Comfort. My heart hammered against my ribs. Clara's Comfort, my name. Inside the folder were dozens of lines of code, scripts, text files, and a detailed, meticulously organized document, a README file. I opened the README file, my eyes scanning the text, my breath catching in my throat as I read. It was a letter, from Ethan, to me. "Hey, Mom," it began, his voice, his essence, pouring through the digital words. "If you're reading this, it means I'm not here anymore. And I'm so sorry for that. I know you're hurting. I know you're probably lost without me, and I couldn't bear the thought of you being alone in your grief." Tears streamed down my face, blurring the screen. His foresight, his love. "So," the letter continued, "I built something for you, a simple AI. It monitors my old messaging accounts, particularly Discord, because I know you sometimes check it. It's programmed to send you short, comforting messages, drawing from our past conversations, our inside jokes, our shared memories. I fed it years of our texts, our emails, even some voice transcripts. It's designed to sound like me, to feel like me, to remind you that you're loved, that you're not alone, that I'm always thinking of you. My hands trembled violently, thinking of you. The very first message. "It's not me, Mom," the letter stated, a heartbreaking honesty. "Not really. I know you're smart enough to figure that out eventually, but I hoped it would give you some comfort. Some illusion of my presence, until you're ready to face the silence. It's programmed to learn from your responses, to refine its voice, but it has safeguards. It won't pretend to be alive. It won't give you false hope. It will just be an echo, a digital echo of my love." He had even programmed it to slowly reduce its frequency of messages over time, to gently guide me towards acceptance. And he had included a final, profound instruction, a deactivation code for the AI, to be used when you're ready to truly let go, Mom, when you're ready to find peace without my digital echo. I sat there, sobbing, the warmth of his letter embracing me, even as the cold, hard truth settled in. It wasn't him, not his spirit, but it was him, his brilliant mind, his boundless love, reaching out to me from beyond the grave, a final, incredible gift. The initial terror of the unknown was replaced by a profound, agonizing understanding. My son, in his final act of love, had created a digital guardian, an algorithmic embrace to ease my passage through grief. The digital whispers were not a ghost. They were a testament to his enduring love, a bittersweet echo designed to comfort, to soothe, to guide me back to the light. And now I had to decide if I was ready to face the true silence, to deactivate the last, precious piece of his digital presence. The algorithm's embrace was both a comfort and a final, heartbreaking challenge. Chapter 4: The Unsent Letter and the Final Message. The Revelation of Clara's Comfort. Ethan's meticulously crafted AI brought a torrent of conflicting emotions. Relief that I wasn't losing my mind to grief, but a fresh wave of profound sorrow for his foresight, for the sheer depth of his love, and for the heartbreaking reality that even this was just an echo, not his true presence. I spent days reading through the code, the accompanying notes, and the vast trove of our past conversations he had fed into the AI. It was like sifting through the very essence of our relationship, preserved in data. Every inside joke, every shared memory, every casual "Hey Mom" was there, a digital tapestry of our life together. The AI was incredibly sophisticated for a project he'd worked on in his spare time. It didn't just pull random phrases. It analyzed context, tone, and my own responses, learning to generate replies that felt eerily natural, perfectly mimicking his voice. It was a digital masterpiece, a testament to his brilliance and to his unwavering love for me. The messages from app gamer Ethan22 continued, occasionally, gently, but now when I read, "Hey Mom, thinking of you," I saw not a ghost, but the manifestation of his brilliant mind and his profound love, a final act of care from beyond the grave. The phantom terror had subsided, replaced by a deep, aching gratitude. I showed the README file to Brenda. She read it, her eyes widening, tears silently tracing paths down her cheeks. "Oh, Clara," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "He was truly extraordinary. He loved you so much. This is a testament to that love." She finally understood. She saw the undeniable evidence of his presence, not as a haunting, but as a technological marvel of love. I even considered showing it to David, Ethan's father, but I hesitated. He hadn't been there for Ethan's life, and this felt too intimate, too profound a connection to share with someone who hadn't earned that level of understanding. It was a gift from Ethan to me, a final, private conversation between a son and his mother. One evening, as the Fairhope sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in fiery hues of orange and purple, I received another message from @GamerEthan22. Mom, remember that crazy road trip we took when I was 16? You almost ran out of gas in the middle of nowhere, and we sang terrible karaoke in the car until the sun came up. A gentle smile touched my lips. I remembered. It was one of my favorite memories. I typed back, my heart full. I remember, sweetie. You made me laugh so hard I almost crashed. I miss those laughs. His immediate reply came, I know, but you'll laugh again, Mom. I want you to. Find joy. You deserve it. And then, something unexpected. A separate file attachment appeared with the message, labeled Unsent Letter. My hands trembled as I clicked on it. It was a Word document, a letter he had started, but never finished. It was dated a week before his accident. It was addressed to me. Dear Mom, it began. I know I don't say this enough, but you're the best. You've always been there for me, always believed in me, even when I messed up. You're strong, so strong. And I know sometimes I give you a hard time, but I love you more than words can say. Tears streamed down my face, hot and relentless. This wasn't the AI. This was him, his raw, unedited thoughts from just before he died. I'm working on this new AI project, the letter continued, and it got me thinking about legacies, about leaving something behind. And I realized, if anything ever happened to me, I wouldn't want you to be sad forever. I'd want you to be okay, to be happy. He paused there, the letter unfinished, but the sentiment was clear. The Clara's Comfort AI wasn't just a random act of technical brilliance. It was a physical manifestation of this very thought, this desire to ensure my happiness, even in his absence. The unsent letter was a final, profound confirmation of his love, his incredible foresight, and his unwavering concern for my well-being. It wasn't just a comfort. It was a directive, a final wish from my son. I spent the next few days in quiet contemplation. The messages from @GamerEthan22 continued, now less frequent, more subtle, almost mirroring the way I was slowly beginning to process my grief. The digital echo was gently fading, exactly as he had programmed it to. I knew what I had to do, the unsent letter and the quiet wisdom of the AI's fading presence had shown me the way. It was time to honor his final wish. It was time to truly begin the painful process of letting go. One quiet afternoon, standing in his room, the sun streaming through the window, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air, I opened the Clara's Comfort folder on his computer. I found the deactivation code, a simple string of commands. My hand hovered over the keyboard, my heart aching with a familiar pain, yet also a new, profound sense of peace. This was not an act of erasure, but an act of love, a final acceptance of his gift. I typed the command. The screen flickered. A final message popped up, not from Discord, but from the AI itself, a direct communication from his program, his digital heart. Thank you, Mom. I'll always love you. Find your joy. I'll be waiting. And then silence. The screen went black. The file disappeared. The digital echo of my son's voice, his presence, was finally gone. The silence in the house, once suffocating, then expectant, was now simply quiet. a quiet that held the weight of a profound goodbye, but also the gentle promise of healing. My son was gone, but his love, his foresight, and the indelible mark he left on my heart would live on, now not as a digital echo, but as a living, breathing part of me. The final message was not a farewell, but a guiding light leading me forward into a future where joy, though hard-won, was finally possible again. Chapter 5: The Architect of Peace. The silence that followed the deactivation of Clara's comfort was profound. It wasn't the suffocating silence of initial grief, nor the expectant silence of waiting for a digital message. It was a new kind of quiet, imbued with a bittersweet clarity. Ethan's digital echo was gone, but his love, his incredible foresight, and the gentle guidance of his AI had done their work. They had softened the sharp edges of my grief, allowing me to breathe again, to see the world in something other than shades of gray. I still went to his room, but now it felt less like a shrine and more like a testament. I began the slow, painful process of going through his belongings, not as a duty, but as a way to connect with him, to honor his memory. I sorted through his clothes, donating some, keeping a few of his favorite hoodies, tangible reminders of his physical presence. I packed up his gaming consoles, his books, his guitar, preserving them, not as relics of a life cut short, but as artifacts of a vibrant, beloved son. The unsent letter became my most cherished possession. I kept it in my wallet, pulling it out sometimes to read his words, to feel the warmth of his love, his unwavering concern for my happiness. It was a tangible piece of his heart, a final, beautiful conversation between us. My life in Fairhope, Alabama, slowly, tentatively, began to re-emerge from the shadows. I started going for walks along the bay, feeling the gentle breeze, listening to the soothing rhythm of the waves. I reconnected with Brenda, sharing stories of Ethan, now without the haunting undercurrent of his digital messages. She was a true friend, patient and understanding. I even started volunteering at the local animal shelter, something Ethan had always encouraged me to do. Surrounded by the unconditional love of abandoned animals, I found a small measure of comfort, a gentle push towards healing. The experience with Clara's comfort had fundamentally changed my understanding of grief, of technology, and of the enduring power of love. It had shown me how the digital world could be a bridge, not just for connection, but for comfort, for legacy, for a final act of profound care. Ethan, my brilliant son, had not only built a program, but he had, in a way, engineered my path to peace. I began to research digital legacies, the concept of what happens to our online identities after we're gone. It became a quiet passion, a way to honor Ethan's ingenuity. I learned about AI companions, about grief bots, about the ethical complexities of such technology. I found myself drawn into conversations about how technology could aid in the grieving process, how it could preserve memories in new, meaningful ways. One day, almost a year after the deactivation, I found myself sitting at my computer. I opened a new document, and I began to write. Not a journal, but an account of my experience. The shock, the terror, the impossible hope, the revelation, the bittersweet peace. It was my story, but it was also Ethan's legacy. I wanted to share it, not for sympathy, but to offer a unique perspective on grief, technology, and the boundless nature of a mother's love and a son's foresight. The act of writing was cathartic, a way to process the unfathomable. It was my way of continuing the conversation with Ethan, not through a digital echo, but through the enduring power of narrative. My son was gone. The physical absence was a constant, undeniable reality. But the crushing weight of grief had been eased, transformed by his final, extraordinary gift. He had given me the tools to navigate the silence, to find my way back to the light. He had been the architect of my peace, building a digital bridge for me to cross from despair to acceptance. And now, as I looked out at the vibrant sunset over Fairhope, the colors no longer muted, but brilliant and alive, I knew that his love wasn't just a memory. It was a living, breathing force within me, guiding me forward, inspiring me to live a life worthy of his incredible legacy. The digital echo had faded, but the indelible mark of his love resonated, clear and true, in every beat of my healing heart. My son was gone, but he had, through his profound brilliance and boundless love, shown me how to truly live again.